can chat on the box in case they have any queries. So, hello everyone. This is our last and third seminar of the Learnersmot project. We are very happy to have you here with us for the third time, for those who are here in all webinars, but also for the newcomers. This project, Learnersmot project, is about triggering motivation of low-educated people, low-educated adults, using the ICT Tools technology and other techniques so that they can be motivated and willing to be in continuous education and to non-formal education and learning in their lives. And today we are gonna talk about learning how to learn and also about ICT tools in adult education. I'm very happy to have with me the colleagues and partners from the Learnersmot project. Anna, would you like to say hi?
Hello, welcome to everybody. I'm Anna. I'm a teacher and a project manager in some projects, and I'm working in enrol in real estate.
Me, I'm Jara Triteu. I'm a project manager and a non-formal education trainer in Eurosuccess Consulting. It's a training center and a private company established in Cyprus. And we also have with us University of Third Age. If you would like to say hi.
Hi. It's three of us.
Great. Okay. We are happy to have you here. One from our partners from Slovenia, and we also have UPI from Zalec in Slovenia, which is another training center, and they are here with us in this last webinar. And also we have with us Eurocrea and Antonella, which is another partner from Italy, another training center. And we are happy also to have them here with us. And yes, let's start today's webinar. And in case anybody wants to ask any questions, they can write them on the chat box and we can read them out loud, or you can use your microphone to discuss anything you would like to. So I'm going to share my screen now so that you can. So can you see my screen? Yes? Great. So our first topic today is learning how to learn. And let's see what we're going to discuss today. We are going to discuss about learning styles. Each one of us is a learner, and we have a different approach on how we learn and how we think. So today we are going to talk about this topic and its importance and the importance of identifying our learning style in the learning process. Then we're going to discuss about the different learning styles and their characteristics, and some techniques and tips that we can use as educators when we work with low-educated people who have different learning styles, and we need to approach them when we teach. And last but not least, we're going to talk about another methodology, learning by analogies, which is not very common in adult education, but it's a very useful tool for, let's say, engaging different learning styles and approaches when you teach. So, why it is important to understand our learning style? First of all, as people, as individuals, it's important to understand which is our learning style. It is only a combination of one thing or a combination of different styles. And in this way, it will be more beneficial for us in order to increase our efficiency, not only when we learn something, but also when we work at work. What is our learning approach? But also as adult educators, when we work with low-educated people, it's very important to identify their strengths. Our learners have different strengths. They are good in doing things, in talking, in listening. So it's good to identify those strengths and use them in our learning approach in order to understand how they process the information. When we teach, we give information to our students, so to our learners. So it's important for us to understand how they are processing that information. And in this way, we present them in a different way so as to achieve our learning outcomes, actually to succeed when we teach them and for them to acquire new knowledge and experiences. So it's very important to keep that in mind when we are educators. So, have you ever thought about what type of learner you are? Sometimes we are saying, I know when I was at the university, I always writing down what the professor was saying, because when I was reading the notes, then the whole lecture will come back. But maybe you have also said, okay, I prefer discussing and presenting a topic rather than writing down. This is a learning approach. This is how an educator or a learner succeeds in his her learning process. And of course, you have some tips. For example, a learner might be easier for them to draw some things while taking notes, or another learner is better when he's listening to an audio recording. So it's important to identify those learning methods and learning tips so as to use them in our learning process and in our guiding process when we have low educated learners and learners in general. There are different approaches in learning and about learning styles. You will see that some people say there are 4 categories, some scientists say 7, some scientists say 9, but more or less they are dealing with different aspects of learning. I will use in our presentation the VARC model, which is actual visual, auditory, reading, writing, and kinesthetic learning. And I will use the VARC model because it's like the easiest categorization for us when we are educators to distinguish the different learning styles and then use them in our learning approaches. So let's see what is this VARC model and how we can use it when we teach low educated adults. First of all, we have the visual or the spatial, let's say, which refers to learners who learn best when they see things, when they observe them. They like visual representations. What do we mean by visual representations? We mean images, pictures, graphics, diagrams, drawings. This is a way to visualize what we teach. But those learners are also good in taking detailed notes. They are listening to the educator and they are writing down notes, because in this way, when they see them again, they can recover the whole learning process in their minds. And when, unfortunately, when they are bored, when they lose interest, they like looking around. This is a way of observing things and being distracted by the surroundings. So for those visual learners, we need to take into account that they struggle with spoken directions. When you give them instructions and they don't write them down because they don't remember them, then they might struggle with the learning process. And also, when you have when you set your learning environment and you have lots of visual aspects around, they might get easily distracted. If you have lots of pictures, lots of colors, they might get distracted because they cannot focus on what you are teaching to them. So this is the first learning style. Let's go to the second one, the auditory one. This is refers to learners that they learn best by listening, by hearing things. They love having the instructions orally, and they also love music. You can also use audio messages when you present them an idea or a topic, or you can sing to them the instructions. In this way, they can easily catch the meaning of the topic you are discussing. They are good at remembering discussions. They might retrieve information from a discussion you did a couple of months, because they can keep information while listening. And what is very important about them is that when we are setting our learning environment, we should not distract them by different noises. We should keep a quiet learning environment where no different noises and sounds might cause their distraction in the learning process. And also, we should not expect from them to read very fast. They are slow readers, and they would like to take their own time to read something, an information, or a leaflet, or a reading, an essay we might give them during our class. Third learning style, reading and writing. These learners are good at the traditional, let's say, classroom-based learning process. They are good at reading and writing. For example, the classical school classroom setting, with the teacher giving them different handouts, and they have to read them and write essays, are like the perfect students. This is the perfect learning environment for them. They can express themselves really easily. They are good at writing notes. They are good at reading books. And they are good in these tests that we are giving them when they have to answer questions or develop an essay on a topic. But about them is that when you have a presentation and it's not really well organized, this might cause them confusion. So when we have this type of learners, is it good to have very detailed notes and well-structured notes, so that they have the meaning, the clear meaning of what you are teaching them. Of course, when we talk about low-educated people, when they are not very good at reading and writing, this method might not be the best for them. So we might need to use the other type of learning styles to approach them. And last but not least, it's the kinesthetic, the physical one. This type of learners are like the best buddies for doing drama and acting out things. Moving around, they prefer not standing still for a long time. And they lose concentration if you don't offer them this movement approach. So, some tips and tricks about the different learners. About visual learners, they use colors. They like drawings. And when they have a thinking approach, they like drawing their reasoning and ask them to draw their reasoning. It's very easy for them to explain you what they thought if they draw it. Use gestures. It helps them keep their attention to you. Posters, charts, and graphs, as we said before, it's a very good approach for them when you want to teach them a concept. And also, instead of writing also only words, you can also draw the picture, small pictures next to them, so that they can keep them in their mind. They can visual the topic. Auditory learners, they love audiobooks. They love speeches. Give them some space to talk and express what they want instead of writing it. They love debates. Instead of having the instructions written, you can record them and send them to them. It's a very good approach also for low-educated people when they don't know how to write things and they feel a little bit stressed about orthography and grammar. Recording notes and asking them to record their voices to show you the learning outcome of their task, it's a very good approach. And the Socratic seminar is about giving a topic to your learners, or a set of topics. They choose the topic they like, and they set small discussion groups where they discuss informally, and they express informally their opinion about a topic. This is a way to approach that group of learners. About reading and writing learners, handouts, written assignments, essays, and readings, traditional forms, let's say, of teaching things, is a good approach for them. Vocabulary stories, you can ask them to use specific words and make stories out of them so as to remember a thing and a topic. And think, pair, and share is another nice approach that we use it very often in non-formal education. You give a topic to the learners. You ask them to write down or visualize some things about the topic. And then you ask them to group in let's say in pairs or in groups of 3 people. They find common things and then they share them. So in this way, this group of people can associate different concepts and during the learning process. And kinesthetic learners, of course, they are good in labs and experiments. They love field trips. If you want to teach them about a concept or a notion, and you want them to understand what you're talking about, it would be good to have an excursion on the topic of the discussion to see actually and experience what about the topic. Also, they like acting out, role-playing, and small scenarios where they have to take some roles and express them. It's the perfect approach for them and for for storing the information in their minds. Physical props. This kind of thing is, you want to teach them about the human body, for example, if you want to teach. And you want to teach about the different parts of the body. It could be good to have a skeleton instead of just talking about abstract concepts which will not make them focused. Or if you have if you want to express your opinion, you can use this approach, take a stand approach, which is actually you give different topics and they have to say if they agree or disagree. Instead of raising up their hands, you tell them, stand up. This is a line. People who disagree go on the left, people who agree on the right. And in this way, you help them express their opinion without being embarrassed, but at the same time, kinesthetic learners are very happy because they are moving around the space and they are not feeling bored. And very quick, I'm going to tell you about learning by analogies methodology. This is a very nice approach when you have low-educated adults. Low-educated adults would like to, when you teach them, would like to associate a new concept with an old concept that they are familiar. And learning by analogies is exactly this one. You connect base concepts and new concepts, you find their relationships, and you try to teach them the new knowledge. And to give you an example, we used the learning by analogy methodology when we wanted to teach to learners about management and how they can be good managers while using the notion of jazz analogy. I will briefly show you this example where, one second. This professor tries to show jazz, which is a music of improvisation, to show you, like a manager, you need to be spontaneous and sometimes you don't know how to react. So it's like improvisation in jazz. Sorry?
Teach at university, and my topics are decision making and negotiation, and in particular I teach analogy between jazz and management. jazz music is based on improvisation. So a jazz player is a player with a lot of knowledge, but is a player that improvises. And so current manager have to decide without preparation, without lesson from the past. Eastwood introduced the analogy as an instrument to teach manager thinking in other way from the late 90s. Analogic lesson is made to allow managers to think in unconventional way, in analogic way. No technicality, no lessons from the past, but new vision and analogic vision.
So, this is from me. This is a nice approach. You can find more videos if you check on Your Success YouTube channel. You can find more analytic about learning by analogy. And if you have any questions to ask me, thank you for now, and I will be here to answer your questions.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. I really like this learning by analogy and the whole film, and putting together jazz and management and everything. But I think adult educators, this is exactly what we do all the time, you know, and especially in literacy courses. We can't accept traditional literacy courses that are centrally based, top-down, and so on. But our courses are each time for each group, for a group of individuals are being built at each time, really. So we have to have a wide picture of what is functional illiteracy, and then we try to create, and we use a lot of this analogy process. I really like jazz, and I like how it is presented. But maybe Lida tisto inteligentnosti. Yeah. No, Lida got.
Well, I just my experience is more with children actually, and from the past, and I was wondering whether this whatever we heard from you was really very interesting, and it reminds me of Gardner's intelligences in a way. Is that anywhere close to it? Mm-hmm. Has Gardner got anything to do with your theory?
Sure. It's, you know, learning style is also related with intelligence. You know, if you have some parts of your brain more developed and you are more, let's say, of a mathematical, logical thinking or more artistic thinking, of course, it's related. It's, and of course, Gardner's theory as well about development is linked with that as well, because you know, as learners and as educators as well, we have an approach on how we develop ourselves, and this is reflected on the way we learn and the way we present things and we teach. So of course, yes, it's highly associated.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But even if we know what kind of learner we are, it's not easy to produce an impact on the way we, shall we say, we teach. For example, personally, I'm a really auditive person, and I would like to have notes on the board that would be very structured and colored, maybe, and so on. But I can't do it, you know. So it's very difficult to go against yourself, but of course it's useful to have the knowledge about the learning styles and to try to intervene consciously.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes we are a combination of learning styles. We are not only auditory, but we might be also visual learners. For me, for example, I'm a visual person, but I also I like talking and I'm presenting ideas, and I like listening to music. So might be like 60% visual, 20% let's say kinesthetic, 10% auditory. So it depends. We are always a combination of something, and that's why this approach is very useful, because when you combine learning styles, you achieve the maximum of the learning process, let's say.
That's true. But also, this comes as a piece of news to me, that what is your advantage in learning? For example, if you are a visual learner and you react to visual presentations and so on, but in this VARC model, it is also said that your advantages can be also your distractors.
Sure.
And this is this comes this is new for me, and thank you very much.
That's why organizing the learning environment is 100% connected with the different learning styles. Well, that's why I said when you have a room full of pictures and visuals, for visual learners, it's very destructive. When you have lots of noises, it's very destructive for auditory learners. So it's good to set a clear and quiet learning environment, simple learning environment that people can feel safe and can engage easily in the different activities without being distracted. Of course, we will have distractions, but if you cause more, then you will miss more. Yeah. So thank you very much for your questions. Now we have to continue with the second presentation of Anna. Anna, would you like to share your screen?
Yes, of course.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you all for your questions.
Okay, can you see it?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So, okay, one moment. I'm not in the first slide. Something happened here. Okay. So, good morning, everybody. I'm going to present the second topic of this webinar, which is ICT tools in adult education. Okay, so internet has changed our lives. In some cases for the best, and in some cases not. But okay, we cannot live as without technology nowadays, and technology and internet are also changing the way we teach other people and we learn. So, what are the advantages of ICT tools? Okay, internet-based technologies. Okay, so it is more time efficient. It can access a wider audience because even learners that live in remote areas and that don't have time to go to a education center can take part in the courses. So learners can create a community to debate and have dialogue between each other, even with people of other areas of the country or with people from other countries. It is also a very good opportunity for teachers because they have more opportunities to communicate with other educators, to share knowledge, to share ideas. It makes people more motivated. And now we have new means of communication between each other and of evaluation. For example, one of these evaluation methods new evaluation methods is peer learning. Okay, peer learning, if you don't know, is something you write some essay or something, and then 3 other people give an assessment or evaluation, and then okay, then you can pass or not, depending on the other people's opinion. Okay, but this is not the teacher who's doing the evaluator, this is other students. Okay, so now that we have a lot of new tools, teachers have to try to integrate these tools in the classroom. Of course, now we are talking about low literate people. The teacher has also take into consideration the students' abilities. Okay, if the students are not able to use these tools properly, maybe you are adding more stress to the learning itself. So it depends of each case and each group. Okay, some of the most popular ICT tools for the class. So we are going to talk about all these. So slideshows, flashcards, videos, songs, games. So we are going to talk a little bit about some of them. Slideshows and presentations. Okay, so PowerPoint, as we have seen, we are using PowerPoint here too. Is like the best option and the easiest option, but there are other possibilities too, as we will see in a moment. But the important thing here when we're talking about ICT tools is that important is the content. The way you use to communicate this content is up to the teacher, and it is to make it more attractive. But the important thing is the content. Okay, if you do a PowerPoint, it must be with the content should be suitable for the students. So we have a lot of other programs to make presentations, and I have put some of them, but I'm not going to explain all of them in detail because it would be very long. For example, Prezi is very popular nowadays, and it makes like presentations more lively and more attractive. Okay, and then another one that is very interesting too is Powtoon. It is more for animated videos, and this is also very interesting. So these tools, like show tools, can be used by the teacher to prepare the class, to prepare material for the class, and it can also be used so to ask the students do something. For example, to ask students, okay, you have to present this topic, you can use this tool to present it, but it depends on the level of the students. Okay. So flashcards have been used long time ago. But now the benefit of ICT tools is that you can use a computer or a TV to show the cards, or you can even make your own cards with some tools and you can adapt the cards exactly to what your students are studying at that moment. Okay, if you buy the cards, then you will have some cards which are very nice, but maybe it is not exactly the vocabulary or the concept that your students are studying at that moment. Okay, so cards, for example, you can use cards to picture to word, a word to a definition, or pictures, and then people can describe and other people should guess. Or for storytelling, use random pictures and put some keywords that they have to use. Okay, so this is about flashcards. Okay, videos and audios. Okay, so videos and audios, there are a lot of videos online. Okay, YouTube is one of the most famous and popular platforms, but we have other ones like Vimeo, for example. And we have specific pages where you can find some videos with activities. For example, for English students, we have Ingrid. These are lessons by teachers about different topics, and then after that you have like exercises or questions. Songs can be also used for spelling and vocabulary. You can take a song, a normal song, and leave some words out. Or you can use other apps or other platforms like Lyrics Training. And you can do your videos yourself, the same as with the slides, or ask students to do them. So gamification. Gamification is very important for the classroom. I am a language teacher, so I use games a lot in my classes, but I guess you can use it in other classes too that are not language classes. Gamification is like use games in a non-game context to improve the users' engagement and learning. Gamification has a lot of psychology, 75% of psychology, and only 25% of technology. Okay, the good thing in gamification is that it doesn't seem like learning. You are enjoying yourself, and at the same time you are learning. Some popular platforms for teachers, but they are a lot. And then there's another thing I want to say, because what you find today, maybe it's old-fashioned tomorrow. So the problem of technology is that the teacher has to keep updated the whole time and look for new resources almost every day, and then try out the resources, because you can find something that looks a very good resource and then it doesn't work properly. I'm sorry. Okay. This is one of the pages, but it wasn't my intention to put it. So I will see how I go out of this. Okay.
Anna, we can't see any page, only your PowerPoint, so don't worry.
Okay, yes, but I can't see my PowerPoint. That is the problem. That is the problem. I don't know where my PowerPoint is now, because I am seeing the page that was. So let me see if I can.
We can only see your some popular platforms for teachers. No worries.
Yeah, this is okay, but I cannot follow up if I'm not able to see the screen. So let me see.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you want to? No, it's...
I'm sorry for the interruption. So this is
no
one
worries.
of the problems of technology. It wasn't my intention, but in some classes it was the same, that you want to show something to the student and it isn't working, and you are saying, "Oh my God, what I'm going to do now?" Okay, so some popular games. Kahoot, okay, this is a very popular game, and you can create your own Kahoots with things that you are studying at that moment, or you can use Kahoots that are already made. Okay, this is, you have to play Kahoot with a mobile phone, okay, and then each, you have like a clue or something like that, and then you have questions, and you have to use the mobile phone to answer the questions. Most of the students like it, but maybe some of them get stressed. Okay, but you always have to see what the group wants, and if some of the learners are having a bad time, then you should change the activity. Then Duolingo is one of the most popular language learning platforms, and you can learn a lot of languages with Duolingo, and some of my students that are using Duolingo to learn English, they are having a great progress, and they like it too. So let's see, okay. So this is about different tools you can use to the classroom. And then other benefits of technology is that you can share contents. For example, teachers can share content with other teachers using Google Drive, or there are websites that are specifically for this purpose. For example, Teachers Pay Teachers, ESL Collective, or Pinterest, where teachers leave activities that other teachers can use. And then you can even share with your learners some activities, some videos, or something. You can also use Google Drive, or there's a specific platform in Google, which is Google Classroom. Okay, now we have e-learning and blended learning. Okay, what is e-learning? E-learning is online learning. So it refers that a course that you only use using digital technologies. These courses can be interactive, so you can connect. For example, they are blogs. You can connect and have discussion with other participants, or static. Okay, you only can see the videos and read the text that they provide you. And it is best suited for short-term and videos, okay, short-term courses, okay, how to know videos and interactive exercises. So, I don't know if you are familiar with MOOC, with Massive Open Online Courses. These are courses that are provided by big universities, and there are a lot of courses about a lot of different topics, and some of them are very good. And then apart from the videos and the reading materials and the exercises, there are forums that help to build a community and to interact with other learners. The good part of this is that you can interact with learners from all other parts of the world. Blended learning. Blended learning is also called hybrid learning, and it is a combined e-learning with traditional learning. It is best suited for long-lasting courses with a more complex organization. Okay. Then it is important to clarify or to let know the learners that their attitude is very important when they are learning. The teacher can give the material or can explain everything, but the learners have to take they have to take their own learning. If they don't do the exercises, if they don't do things at home, if they don't memorize the things, they will be demotivated and lost very soon. I can see it in some of my students, that at the beginning everybody is the same, but then you can very easily see, or very early see what are the students that are really doing the homework and having taking the time to do all the activities, and the students that get lost and get demotivated, and most of these students they abandon. So this is one of the parts that you have to make them clear that if they really want to learn something, they have to do their part. So then, as a conclusion, we can say that ICT tools have many benefits. They make learning more dynamic and interesting, which motivates the learner. And on the other hand, it is time consuming for the teacher, because as I said one moment ago, the teacher has to be constantly updating himself or herself, trying to find new tools, doing new activities. Or for example, if you want to make some slideshow or some video, you have to take the time to do it. And okay, and then there is another disadvantage, that is that you need to have a minimum in the class. You need to have a TV or at least a computer, an audio equipment and things like that. And in some places, it is not so easy to find it. And so, at last, the education roles is to decide whether the learners are ready to use some ICT tools or not, and which are more suitable for them. So then, as a last reflection, this says, as Andrew Barra says, technology in the classroom is not the end goal, it's enable learning everywhere is the goal. Okay, so thank you for your attention. And if you have any doubt, you can ask.
Yes, Anna. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so as an educator, can you give me some examples of the methods you use in your classes with other learners?
Okay.
Some real examples, I mean.
Yes, I use a lot cards. I prepare the cards myself, for example, for vocabulary. And then I use some tricks, as you just said one moment ago, that we were talking about the different ways people learn. Then I use a lot visual activities, maybe because I am a visual person and I think everybody is the same. So for example, to learn vocabulary in German, I use a different color for each gender. And then all the things that are masculine are blue, all the things that are feminine are red, and all the things that are neutral are green. And I think it works not for everybody, but for most of the students, because if they don't remember, I say, what was the color of the bicycle? Ah, it was green. Oh, okay, now I know. Then I use a lot of videos and audios. And then what else? For example, I use videos without voice. I put the videos and they have to invent the story according to what they see. I use Kahoot in some cases, but not always, because it is not always suitable. And it depends. Each group is different. And the group itself tells you if something is working or not. They cannot participate and it's not working for them. So you have to choose the activity and do other things.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Very nice. I like the one with the stories. I will use the same. Is anybody else who would like to ask something or share something? If you don't feel comfortable in speaking, you can also write it down and we can read it out loud for you. So if nobody wants to ask something, we would like to thank you very much for participating in this webinar. And we are very excited to hear more about you. And in case you would like to ask us more, please share them through our website. You can see this is our website, Learnersmot project, where you can find a section about questions, and you can contact us also through our emails. Thank you very much. Again, thank you everyone for participating in the discussions, and see you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.